Alright, so I say it's time we put a tape in this thing. So I have a cassette here. I will give a brief history on the VHS-C format. JVC developed VHS-C, I believe in 1984. And the JVC GR-C1 was, I believe, the first VHS-C camcorder. This camcorder's predecessor. But basically VHS-C is just VHS in a smaller cassette. The tape is exactly the same. The recording signal is exactly the same. And what made VHS really popular for quite a while, VHS-C was, I think, one of the most popular camcorder video formats right up until like the early 2000s. The reason being was, first of all, you could buy a physical adapter that you put the cassette into, and you can stick the adapter in a regular VHS VCR, so you can play this in a VCR meant for full-size VHS tapes. So it was very easy to view your recordings. Second of all, VHS-C cassettes are quite cheap, as in affordable, because they're quite crude in construction, so much so that there's not even a mechanism to keep the tape tense. If I rotate this wheel, notice I can just rotate the tape without having to, depress any lever or anything. The tape is quite crude in construction. So much so that you actually have to be careful. Well, I can advance it by turning this wheel, but not rewind it. The reason this wheel's exposed is there's no mechanism to keep the tape tense, so it was actually recommended practice to rotate this wheel just to make sure the tape is tense before you stick it in a camcorder, lest you risk the camcorder eating the tape. So let me turn this on again, and let me hit eject. You can see it popped up there. You can see the VCR in there. There's the head drum. Interesting, a bunch of wires, I guess, coming from the heads, just all bundled up in the middle of the head drum. But it is a 4-head design, so good video quality, and meets the HQ specification. And yeah, it's a good deck. There's one physical thing about this camcorder I really don't like. If you see here, if I press in on this here, this part of the camera is really flexible. It buckles really easily. In fact, if I close the door, you can see already as it is, it's not flush with the tape door because the tape door is quite rigid. But this part is just really flexible plastic. I guess maybe that was a limitation of the design of the thing. They just couldn't make it more structurally rigid without, adding to the bulk and complexity of the thing. So let me stick my tape in. And we will, what's it say, anything on the viewfinder? Nope. So we'll rewind. Fast forward just to show you. And we'll stop. And rewind. This camcorder, not the other one, but this particular one, occasionally exhibits a problem in which if you rewind and fast forward the tape in like rapid succession, you do a lot of fast forward and rewind maneuvers on it, the tape will become loose when you try to play the tape, and the camcorder senses this before it jams, and it stops playing and it flashes like an error code amongst the LEDs, and you have to eject it, tense the tape up, and then put it back in, and then you'll be fine. Yeah, so let's get right to it. Let's make a recording on this. I'm on the SP recording speed. We will test both speeds. We'll test all the manual features. Hopefully my battery, of course this battery has a third of the original capacity. I hope it, and I haven't fully charged it, so I hope it lasts as long as we need it to. Let's start filming. Okay, we are now recording with the JVC Zenith video movie model VM6200, aka JVC video movie model GR-C7 VHS-C camcorder from 1986. And it figures I'm now getting the low battery icon on this, so don't know how long it's going to last, so I have another battery charging over there. So you can see how nice the manual zoom is on this. Just go in and out really quickly, and the power focus does a good job of making quick adjustments. Boy, this place is messy. So let's walk around. So whenever I point at anything other than a lamp, I get the low light warning. And wow, that looks so cool. Oh, where's the zoom control? Oop, wrong way. Oh my goodness, my fly's down. Don't get any ideas, boys. So, I'm used to using my left eye for viewfinders, but I think it makes more sense to use my right eye. But then I have to close my left, or else I get... Well, I guess I can kind of work with the double vision, but... Well, fantastic. My battery went dead, so I'm on the second one now, after only having a few minutes of charge. So, this one probably won't last long, but hey, I'm not getting the low battery indicator right now, which is good. Take a look at the bus schedule. Wow, I don't know what the heck happened. This time the battery actually fell out of the camera. Wow, this demonstration's turning into a real crap show. The second battery actually fell out while it was recording. I don't know how. It was secured in there. I don't know how, and I'm pulling on it now, and I'm pulling. Yes, and then the second one died, so it's on the charger again. Now this one's probably going to die again. I've got a fast 1 amp charge going into this battery. Wow, this demonstration's really going crappy. We'll see how well the focus works here. So the focus is all the way into the closest it can go without going into the macro mode. So I think, yeah, I can only get a couple feet away, but if I go into the macro mode, I can get closer. And I'm going to use the power zoom now to manipulate the macro mode. Zoom motor is actually stuck a little bit. I'm going to move it manually. There. And I can just manipulate the power zoom as I get closer and closer. Look how well that works. Wow, the power zoom doesn't like to... It's not really working well. It usually works well in the macro mode. It's not this time though. Had to swap batteries again. There might be a lot of battery swapping going on here. So, yeah, eventually I actually can't get something close enough for it to focus when you're all the way into the macro mode. Now we're back into the regular mode. So, what else can we look at? Here's my dark kitchen. And here's my light kitchen. There's my messy kitchen. Wow, that looks cool. So, it's not too bad holding one of these. Way heavier than a modern camcorder. Still a bit heavier than my high 8 camcorder, which is my next heaviest camcorder. But it's not too bad. Your arm gets a little bit sore after like 15 or 20 minutes. It's my pink bathtub. Oh, there's the battery indicator again. See. Alright. Alright, I'm running off the power supply now. I got tired of swapping batteries every 2 minutes. I guess I should have prepared for this video, but I felt really motivated. It's really hard these days between school and in the summer work to get motivation to make videos. So, you know, it's like 2:30 in the morning right now, but I had the motivation to do it, so it's like I'm gonna do it because I don't want that motivation to go to waste. So, I wasn't prepared for this video, but oh well. So, let me try. You can do the fade right without having to, like, it just does it by itself. So if I press fade, there it fades. So you have to do the fade by yourself, which is kind of funny. Backlight compensation. Well, it doesn't say anything when I turn it on. Oh, that's interesting. I see no change when I press the button. Alright, whatever. White balance. Yeah, it does have indicators for that. There's outdoors. So it should be a bit more orangish, I think. And then indoors. And, well, I guess you can already see the record light blinks. Or, yeah, the instant record light blinks while it's recording. You can see the tape moving. And yeah, I think that's a pretty good test of this thing. Oh yeah, let's test SP versus EP. So I've been recording in SP, so I'm gonna flip the switch live to EP now. And yes, the tape did slow down live, and now on the display it has been saying rec, R-E-C, now it says EP-rec, and the light symbol is forever flashing. So this is what EP looks like. Forehead design should yield quite decent quality still in EP mode, which is quite nice. There you go, I'm going to switch back to SP. And now we're recording in SP again. So I think what I'll do now is, just for the heck of it, so you can get a raw feed of just the video circuitry alone without any quality loss due to the fact that it's recording onto analog tape, I'm going to connect the video output of this thing to my Digital 8 camcorder, and I'll give you a direct recording onto Digital 8 of what the video and audio sounds like. So to do that, I had to go on eBay and buy a female to female, a lesbian, composite video adapter. So I plugged this camcorder into one side and my Digital 8 into the other side, so we can get a direct recording onto Digital 8 of this camcorder, of just the video and audio feed straight into Digital 8, not from VHS. So let's see what that looks like. Okay, this is a direct video feed into Digital 8, not from the VHS tape, straight through the video output. So I listened back to the recording I just made, and while video quality is still quite good in EP mode, audio quality suffers. And I would assume this is because it's a forehead design, but it's still mono audio, so the audio is still recorded linearly, not using audio heads on the head drum. So linear audio, the tape slows down, you're gonna get a decrease in the audio bandwidth. So audio quality does suffer, video seems to remain quite good. So here's what a direct feed looks like. You can probably hear the zoom and focus motors now a lot louder. The quality's probably quite a bit better. So now what I want to see is, can I use this camcorder as a VCR? Because it says AV in/out. So let's find out right now. Well, I tried to get the AV input to work, and I couldn't. Unfortunately, there's absolutely no manual for this thing online, not for free anyway. and the manual for the GR-C1 isn't really applicable. So if there actually is an AV input functionality on this, I don't know how to activate it. Maybe someday I'll find a manual for this thing and find out. It'd be kind of cool to know if you can just use this thing as a full-blown VHS-C VCR. But anyway, I think that's all there is to cover on the Zenith video movie model VM6200, aka JVC video movie model GR-C7. What a lovely piece of vintage video equipment. I love old camcorders, and this is a very nice one indeed. What a score! What a lucky score to get two of these things complete in the carry cases. And batteries, which are still halfways okay. I'm hoping to cut open that one that has the shorted cell and stick some 18650 cells in it. That would be awesome. Have a nice, light, twice the capacity battery that I could use these things with. I'd like to start using these, you know, I'd like to use all my vintage camcorders for something. Well, I use my High 8 one for YouTube, although once in a while someone feels the need to give me a review on how my video quality is. I wouldn't use this thing for YouTube, so you don't have to worry about that. Or at least not mainstream anyway. It'd be fun to use this thing for like some YouTube videos, just odds and ends. I'd love to take something like this outside and get some outdoor shots, but the problem is I'm self-conscious. I figure if I were to take something like this outside, most people are not gonna even look at me. They won't care. They're doing their own thing. Some people might actually come up and ask me questions because they realize what this is and they think it's cool, which would be awesome. I'd love that. Or maybe some people would think it looks like a TV camera or something, think I work for the CBC or something like that. But either way, I'm kind of self-conscious bringing this thing out, something like this outside, which is too bad because I'd love to do it. Maybe I'll get up the courage sometime. But, you know, I'd like to use these once in a while. I might use them for, you know, some off YouTube videos once in a while, like stuff that would go on the extras channel. You may remember I have another VHS-C camcorder, a modern JVC from the early or mid-2000s VHS-C camcorder, which I've made a video of that you can watch on this channel. And I should have brought it up here so I could compare the video quality from each of them, although I know for a fact that the JVC's better, although I should have made a direct comparison regarding if the VCRs alone in them differ in video quality. But anyway, yeah, I think I might see if I can sell that camcorder. I'm never going to use it again. You know, it's nice. I do want to have at least one VHS-C camcorder. Well, now that I got these ones, I'm obviously never going to touch that modern one. I mean, why would you? Why use that when you could use one of these? So yeah, I might sell that other one. Oh yeah, you can actually remove the viewfinder on these to gain access to the CRT itself. You twist it and then pull. And here's the cute little CRT display. I'll turn the camcorder on. And there it is. Tiny, tiny CRT. So I'll press show. And there you go. Ah, I should have done this to start with. So if I start recording, oh, I'm going to press the instant record button. There's the battery. There's the battery warning. Press record. Now it's recording. Stop recording. White balance. There's indoor. There's outdoor white balance. Backlight has no... Turns out the backlight compensation does work. It's very mild, but it does work. There's no indicator for it. And there's no indicator for manual or automatic focus. Fade. Fades to white, which I think is kind of odd, but whatever. And then fade back in. Put it in VCR mode by pressing stop. And press play. Or actually rewind a bit. Oh, it's already rewound. Press play. There's playing. And we can cue and review work. Now I'm queuing and review. And stop. There's a little overview of the VCR mode. So that's all there is to show of this thing. I'll show you one more thing. I'll bring up some advertisements I found online. Well, first of all, here's what the actual JVC version looks like. Exact same camcorder, just it's red in color, which I think looks super cool. And some of the graphics are a bit different, some of the print on the buttons. For example, the show button's actually called monitor, which I just learned. That's dumb. Why didn't they just call it monitor? Because show didn't really make much sense. Instant recording is actually called record standby, which also makes sense. Why did they give them these? Why did Zenith put on these really weird names? Record standby makes so much more sense. Fade is called fader. Why didn't they just put fader? Full auto, there's no filter, which is something that didn't make sense. So basically, everything on this camcorder that didn't make sense to me does make sense on the JVC model. I wonder if the JVC model, if I can find a picture of the front of it here, is the AV jack actually say AV out? Or AV in out, I mean. No! I think it just says out on the JVC. What the heck? So it's probably not even an AV input. It's just an output. What? I don't understand. Why did JVC take half the buttons and stick nonsensical labels on them? It's so dumb. Here's a whole article written about the camcorder in Popular Science, June 1986. It says, the JVC Company of America's general manager of video products leaned back in his chair, smiling. He had just handed me his company's latest entry in the video wars, the GR-C7, a camcorder that uses half-inch wide compact VHS tape. I hefted the super light camera, wondering if there was anything inside. I also wondered why JVC was staking its camcorder future on VHS-C, a format that had severe drawbacks compared with 8mm and full-size VHS camcorders. VHS-C camcorders were larger and heavier than 8mm models, and they only recorded for 20 minutes on a cassette. Later that became 30, they came out with 30-minute cassettes. Why was he smiling? VHS-C is fighting back. The GR-C7, to be marketed by Zenith as the VM6200, is the smallest, lightest camcorder with both record and playback capability. More important, JVC's engineers tripled the recording time to 1 hour by adding a second, slower recording speed, expanded play or EP mode. Then to counter the lower quality picture from the slower moving tape, the engineers implanted special electronic circuitry. Finally, they developed a super dense recording tape to further enhance the EP images. The result, images recorded in the 1 hour mode are indistinguishable from those made using the original 20-minute recording speeds. I looked at the camcorder and wondered how all that engineering was shoehorned into a package that fit so easily in my hand. Here's what I learned. We chose compact VHS to make the camcorder lighter and smaller. The GR-C7 weighs 3.32 pounds, including the battery pack and tape. Also, compact VHS tape is compatible with full-size VHS machines. This means a tape from a camcorder can be played on 80% of VCR home decks. And that probably means in 1986, Betamax had 20% of the market, which I would expect. The only camcorder smaller or lighter is Sony's Mini 8. They're probably referring to the Handycam. An 8mm unit that tips the scales at 3 pounds and measures 4¼ by 4¼ by 8½ inches. But the Mini 8 is a record-only unit. It requires a playback deck, so you cannot easily review or edit tapes while on the go. To shave weight, JVC engineers substituted a small half-inch CCD for the Nuvicon pickup tube, used on their previous VHS-C model, the 4.8 pound GR-C2. Oh yeah, okay. After the GR-C1, there was a GR-C2, but I don't think it sold very well. A CCD is a large-scale integrated circuit packed with photosensors that convert light into electrons, which are processed into an electronic signal. The CCD eliminates some hardware such as high-voltage wiring and deflection circuitry needed to handle incoming images from a pickup tube. Yeah, solid-state image sensors, way better and easier to manufacture and implement than the old video tubes. As cool as they are, though. The CCD also gives better sensitivity so it can use a smaller lens. The lighter lens is enclosed in a fiberglass shell instead of metal used in the GR-C2. Previous VHS-C camcorders recorded in the standard play speed, so only 20 minutes of recording time was possible, but the new unit can record in the extended play speed, which triples recording time. But lowering tape speed to achieve a 1-hour recording time caused problems. A video recording's quality depends on the amount of information stored on a tape. Cut the recording speed and you've got less room to hold picture information. That means you get a noisy picture with fuzzy edges and a loss of detail. To accommodate the slower speed, JVC's engineers first trimmed the unit's read-write head width from 32 microns to 26, optimal for EP. A narrower width is needed to squeeze the information on the slower moving tape. To combat the slow speed's poorer picture quality, they added new electronic circuits called HQ circuits, which have been available on some VCR home decks for some time. With HQ you get the same picture quality using the EP speed as you do with SP. HQ increases picture performance in several ways. Video noise is reduced from the brightness luminance signal by a comb filter. They're getting into some electrical engineering stuff here now. Here's a picture of the thing. This creates a more stable, better defined image. Two other comb filters are used in the color chrominance signal. They remove streaking and help create more natural color. Another circuit extends this high frequency range by 20%. This creates a sharper image, especially in the high contrast areas such as shadows. Switching to EP does entail a slight loss in the audio recording quality, but voices sound the same in EP and SP. If you're making home movies, you never hear the difference between the two modes. No, they just said you have a slight loss of quality. JVC's engineers also developed a new recording tape called Super Pro to enhance EP's performance. We use a multi-phase barium ferrite emulsion to create the tape. It's a very smooth, high-density tape. We can pack 50% more information on this tape than our other tapes. Despite its small size, the GR-C7 is packed with plenty of the sophisticated features found in other camcorders. For example, as I walked around shooting scenes, its f1.6 6:1 power zoom lens, so it is a 6x lens, whirred quietly as the autofocus instantly adjusted for distances. Stepping outside, I pushed two buttons and the camera corrected for outdoor lighting and backlighting. A tiny CRT in the tiltable eyepiece let me review recordings on the spot. There's also automatic backspace for insert editing, no glitches between scenes, and a shuttle search for quickly finding scenes on the tape. So yeah, of course, as you saw when I did the record test, this thing has a flying erase head like any modern camcorder, so cuts between scenes are very clean. Unless, like battery falls out. The camcorder is easy to use, but after 15 minutes of non-stop picture taking, my arms were tired from holding the tiny box in front of my face. Suddenly, the larger camcorders with shoulder mounts didn't seem so awkward after all. For long recording sessions, I recommend using a tripod. When I finished recording, I removed the camcorder's compact cassette and slipped it into the motorized adapter for playback on a full-size VHS home VCR deck. Unlike the previous manual adapter in which your fingers cranked a worm gear to load the tape, Now you merely close the adapter's lid. The motor-driven gear opens the compact cassette's plastic door and expands the cassette's guide post to pull the tape to full VHS size. Hit the VCR's eject button and the posts return to their original position and the cassette pops out. Picture quality. I shot pictures in both SP and EP modes. While I played them back, I couldn't see a difference in quality between the two. The price for JVC's model is $1,495. Zenith will retail for around $1,200. So I found that really interesting. The Zenith one was actually cheaper, which is kind of odd. Both will include a tape, cassette adapter, and 1-hour battery. A 2-hour battery is available. JVC's package also includes a hard-shell carrying case, antenna cable, and transformer. So there you go. I think that's long enough. I won't show you any others if I could find any others anyway. But that was Popular Science, June 1986. A very, very nice review of this camcorder. Well, that's all I'm going to show you guys. I really hope you've enjoyed this in-depth look at this camcorder. I think this is super cool. This is definitely a keeper to me. Quite a fun to use camcorder when you've got a charged battery anyway. And I hope to get to occasionally use this for whatever use I find for it. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.